Hi lovelies. Oh, what a glorious day this is today. I've been nudged to come here to this fabulous little glen, and in previous videos we've talked about portals and openings and such like, and parallel universes and timelines and that sort of thing, and this is this is just such a lovely example that's popped into my head, because there's a little bridge here which we're going to walk over, and it just reminded me of a lovely story called Brigadoon, which was made into a movie, I think in the 1940s, and it had Sid Charisse, who was a lady, C-Y-D, Sid Charisse, and it was a lovely musical, and the story is set in Scotland. Well, initially in America. These two Americans come over to Scotland. Van Heflin was one of them, and Gene Kelly was the other. And they're going on a golfing holiday in Scotland, and suddenly a mist comes down, and Gene Kelly gets separated from Van Heflin. And as the mist lifts, he suddenly walks across a bridge into this little village that seemed to have appeared out of nowhere. And the village is called Brigadoon, and it is actually a magical village. It only appears once every 100 years for one day, because it's had a spell put on it, or an enchantment. Nobody is allowed to leave the village, because if they do, it will disappear forever. But because Gene Kelly's character enters the village, it means that somebody could actually leave, but only while he is still there. So the story unfolds of Gene Kelly falling in love with Sid Charisse. But the interesting thing about the village is that it is just seen the farmer go past on his quad bike with the sheeps from earlier on. Anyway, the thing about this village Brigadoon is that it is set in probably 1800 and something. So everybody's in long, ladies in long clothes, and guys in kilts and such like. There's a lot of dancing, which is wonderful. But I wanted to bring you here today. I was really nudged to come, and thank goodness the sun is shining, because the weather forecast for the rest of the week is rain, rain, rain. So as we go into this, whatever's going to come through today, I just feel it's a very good example of timelines, portals, and how it is very easy for us to slip into them. Now, the story went on in that Gene Kelly fell in love with the Sid Charisse character, but he actually left the village and went all the way back to New York, where he had a girlfriend, but he was humming and hawing about her. And his life just wasn't the same once he'd come away from the place. And so he left everything and went all the way back, hoping that the village would still be there, but it was only meant to appear once every 100 years. So he went back in search of the place, and because of his love for Sid Charisse, or her character, the place opened up again, and somebody had actually left the village, which had put it in a dire state. It could have vanished forever, but because Gene Kelly went back in there, he then spent the rest of his life in this beautiful little village called Brigadoon. So I hope you understand the story. Look it up online. Watch it. It is just fabulous, and the magic of that love story. It's basically saying that true love, anything can happen. So as we're moving through these extraordinary energies around us at the moment, just know that anything can happen. And if there's anything you see whilst I'm filming this, do let me know, because I might not see it initially as we're working through it. But if something pops up on the film, put a comment in the comment box for me, and yeah, we'll see how it goes. So here we are, here's the lovely little bridge. And what's sweet about it is that it's stone, a little stone bridge. So if you could just imagine this as the entrance into another dimension, call it Brigadoon, call it what you want. So if there's something that's waiting to meet you, some event horizon as we call it, as you watch this video, it can actually be activating a code within you that is ready to be activated. It is just, it's just so sweet. It just is so delightful. Look at this sweet little bridge. And it's been here for donkey's years. So we're going to pan around. There's some little bullocks in the field over there. And this gorgeous river. And it feels like I should drop some pennies into the water like a wishing well. I haven't got any pennies on me. Have I got any pennies on me? Ooh. Well, just imagine that I've done it. I've thrown some pennies into the water for you lot. So make a wish. Make a wish. Make a wish. There's such a magical energy here, and it's more to do with nature and elementals and time standing still in a way. So we know that as humans we have timelines, past, present and future, but really everything is happening in the now. So if you're thinking about the past, you're doing it in the now. If you're thinking about the future, you're doing it in the now. So really everything is existing at one and the same time. So as Gene Kelly walked over the bridge into Brigadoon, he was in a way time travelling, but because time exists in the now, it was just like he walked from one field into another. I know I am very, very ready to walk through another doorway or multiple doorways. All of the experiences that I've had, not just this year of 2018, but in the past 7 or 8 years, has brought me to a point where I feel I cannot remain as I am. There's no way I can exist in the same way that I have been. And in acknowledging that, I've found that I'm able to move forward and not look back. And within this story of Brigadoon, it's the classic of boy meets girl, boy falls in love with girl, boy leaves girl, girl's broken-hearted, but boy returns. and in a way they live happily ever after. So yes, this can be about relationships with others, but it's really about our relationships with ourselves. So the male energy is action. The actions that we need to take to make those changes in our lives. And the female is that dream, that vision, that goal desired. And the synchronicity of things. So what are the chances of a guy being in the right place at the right time when a magical village shows up that only does so once every 100 years? And as I've said before, synchronicity. Kronos is the god of time. He's also known as Saturn. So synchronicity is the bringing together of certain things at exactly the right time. And I know from the private readings that I've been doing, there is oh, here they come again. Here come the sheep again. Oh dear, I hope they haven't escaped. That would be interesting, wouldn't it? Ooh, heck. Yeah. Where are you guys going? Oh, you're meant to be with the other ones. Look at that. Go on. Skedaddle back up the field. Go on. Oh dear. Is Amanda turning into a shepherd? We shall see. We shall see. What are you doing? Go on. Go on. Power of intention. Look at that. They do one look at me and turn round. Go on, girls. Back you go. Go on. Look at that. Wow. Off you go. That's it. Maybe somebody's looking for you. You don't want them out on the main road. Little waggy tail. Ooh. Well, we'll see how far this takes us. Strange things show up, don't they? Strange things show up just when I'm going off on one thing, something else comes along, takes us off on a tangent. So I think I would rather go with them and see whether they've done the Great Escape or something. Just to stop and have a look. Oh, wow, look at this. Isn't it beautiful? Oh, so lucky. So lucky to live here. Yeah. It's amazing what shows up. And from my studies along the way in my extraordinary lifetime, I went to Seattle in America, and I did a course on something called matrix energetics, which is completely bonkers stuff, but it works. And one of the things the teacher said, one of the first things he told us when we were practicing, was notice what you notice. So as we're going through our ordinary everyday lives, stuff comes into our vision, but it's just on the periphery. You might notice it, but not really pay attention. Now, when you notice what you notice, it gives it a very different energy. Now, in quantum physics, try and get my head around this one. If something is paid attention to, so if you give your attention to something, you activate it. And if you don't give your attention to something, it remains the same. So the smallest thing that has been discovered so far has the ability to be two things at once. And if I'm right, the word is photon. I'll have to check it. But anyway, it can be two things at once. So in experiments that have been done, when the experiment was witnessed, a change occurred. When the experiment wasn't witnessed, there was no change. So notice what you notice. Whatever you pay attention to, you will activate it. So with these sheep showing up, coming back down the lane towards me, I noticed what I noticed. And that was, it's a message for me in some shape or form, and for you viewers. And funnily enough, written on the side of that van that's just come past was Sean Burns. I don't know if you got the joke yet, but Sean, as in shearing sheep, Sean, and Burns, as in burning things. So I feel that the message of the sheep coming back down the lane, and when I set the intention to turn them, I didn't wave my arms around, I didn't yell at them, I didn't make a noise. They just felt that energy coming from me. So I wasn't overpowering them. They just got the message. And in previous videos, when I've spoken about the sheep mentality or the herd mentality, and some wanting to break away. So we've been held in a herd mentality for eons, being told what to do, what to believe, what's good for us, what's not good for us. And we're breaking out. Some of us are breaking out. And there's no way we're going to go back and join that herd. Because we know it's not right. We know it doesn't suit us. It's not part of our purpose. So I think those little sheep are all right now. They're back in the field. So even though this may appear to be a detour of our little expedition today, it's been a very interesting little lesson on, do I take this path or do I take that path? Will I benefit if I take this path? Or will others benefit if I take this path? So it's weighing up things. Not it using the ego. Will I benefit materially if I take this path? But allowing your spirit to guide you in such a way that it is for the highest good of all, whichever path you take, and it benefits everybody. Up over the stile. We're going to walk along the side of the river now. Now this river has carved away a lot of the riverbank over these last 10 years, and especially when we had the heavy floods in the last couple of years. It's completely changed the landscape of the fields around here. And to see what damage water can do, and the destruction and the debris it leaves behind. Now the water element represents our emotions, our tears and tantrums and highs and lows and ups and downs. But it also represents our intuition. So as this river has got wider over the last few years and carved a different landscape, see where I'm going with this? All of the highs and lows in our lives and the tears and the tantrums and the upsets have actually been carving new landscapes internally for us. And it has been vitally important for this process to happen. And it is continuing to happen for a wee while yet. But a lot of people who have suddenly woken up, who suddenly found their lives are not what they thought they were. There is a deep cleansing that has been required, a washing away, a purging. Some of you might feel you've been right through the ringer. I know I have. On the fast spin as well at times. So this new inner landscape can take a bit of getting used to. Because I know, having viewed what this river has done to this bank along here, so many trees, really big old ancient oaks, have just toppled over. They're gone. The water has washed away the roots. They've got nothing to hang on to. And for some of us, that's how life feels. That even though you may have had a strength in a way, or you thought you did, that has been toppled. Your roots have been completely washed away, and there's nothing left for you to hang on to. That is devastating for some people. Life is never the same again. But as a collective, this inner cleansing is such a necessary part of the ascension process. And it's not about washing your dirty linen in public, as some people are wont to do on social media. As I've said, whatever you pay attention to, it grows and expands, you activate it. Now, I don't know about you, but when I was little, whenever I stayed with my grandmother, before we went to bed, she'd give us a good scrub. She'd get that flannel and that coal tar soap, make a good old lather, and wash behind our ears and in our ears and our necks. And she'd say, you could grow potatoes in those ears. And it felt so rough at the time and so uncomfortable. But really, in a way, it was good to have that care taken by somebody else. So on an energetic level, before you go to bed, get rid of any dirt or debris or negative stuff that's hanging around you. See, these are the trees that have fallen in. But it isn't without... Hello again, my lovelies. This is the inside bit. Sorry about the abrupt end for the outside bit. I ran out of storage on my phone. It's actually taken me 3 days to try and get things sorted out so that I can actually upload this video for you. So pesky old Mercury retrograde's been mucking me about, and so anyway, here we are. Let's see how we can tie these things together. So with the little excursion that we had in the bridge to Brigadoon, I did notice when I looked at the first bit of the video, the outside bit, that there's a little green, like a will-o'-the-wisp shows up. So yeah, some comments on that would be lovely. It felt to me like little nature spirit joining in the fun. So I have a painting here that I like to share with you. This is, I call it Angel. So there are lots of beautiful nature colours in it, and the energy exuding from it is to do with healing and sharing light. So when you look at the painting, those energies are being gifted to you today. And a little angel showed up in our little mini cards, which is an angel of light. So all this gorgeous energy is coming right at you, and it is said that light contains information. So we come from light, and to light we return. So the information that is being broadcast to us all now is coming on these different rays of light. And as we progress in our lives, and it's not just about getting older and having life experiences, it's how our soul reveals itself to us in various situations in our lives. So the colours that have come out in the painting here is green and purple and gold, and they are of the higher chakras, or the higher colours in the rainbow. And so these colours resonate at a high vibration, and so the information that is being broadcast is of a higher quality. So those of you who are on the brink of this transition, this transformation, waking up to these ascension energies, what I feel my task is for you guys, and for myself as well, is to open up to this information that is coming to us. And it isn't just outside of us. We tend to think we have to read books or watch videos or go to talks and glean information that way. Yes, that's good, that's lovely, but really the awakening energies are from within. So what these paintings and me doing these videos for you, the intention is that you wake up from yourself, from your own deep sleep, from your own 100 years stuck in the mist of a little village in the middle of nowhere. So we have light, which is the main component of our existence, and the little angels shown up here. And then the self-mastery card is cooperation. And it says, the master has a quiet eye for what is needed to bring success, to supply it at the right time, in the right place, and in a positive state of mind. So having a quiet eye is like what I said earlier on, notice what you notice. So it's not necessarily diving into a situation or giving an opinion or reacting too quickly to something. It's being able to cooperate with that inner wisdom, with that inner light, and then you see what is needed to bring success, to supply it at the right time, in the right place, and in a positive state of mind. So as long as we have a positive state of mind and an open heart, we then cooperate. So to operate means to function, to cooperate means to function with others, but initially our higher selves. Now, in a previous video we had a cut-off before I could carry on with other things, and this card has come up again, so it's obvious to me that it needs to be shared with you. And this is the armadillo from the Native American medicine cards. And he's an interesting dude. The number is 28. When they're added together becomes 10, which then reduces to 1 and a 0. So this is about the new beginnings that we're all feeling around us, that can get some of us really shaken up about. And the armadillo is about boundaries. So it's vitally important that we are aware of not letting others step into our sacred space without our permission. So boundaries are a way of using your energies in a sacred way to prevent anything negative coming in, or anything that you do not want, or anything that is uninvited from coming into your lives in any shape or form. Now, an interesting example of this, my younger sister ran a little Mexican restaurant in London many years ago, and she was on her own Sunday morning, bottling up, getting the place ready to open up, and it was warm, so she had the front doors wide open, and a guy came in, and he was rather bullish and aggressive, and he demanded a drink from her. So she came round, now she's 5'2", right? She came round from behind the counter and stood up to him, and she put her 2 hands out in front like this with her index fingers pointing. She said, "You get out of my space now." And he ran. He ran out the door, he ran down the street, never to be seen again. So she established her sacred space. She designated it. She showed him in a physical way that this area was hers. So yes, you can do that physically if you feel somebody is overstepping the mark, but you can also do it energetically speaking. So you just imagine this huge bubble or egg of energy right around you, protecting you, and not allowing anything to step into your sacred energies. And one of the things that's suggested in this the book that goes with these cards is that you draw a circle on a sheet of paper. You can use a dinner plate. Within the circle you write everything that is within your boundaries, and then outside of that circle you can put things that can only come into your life with your permission. So say, for example, the in-laws just show up from time to time without letting you know, or somebody else just shows up on the doorstep, or people ask you to do stuff without giving you any warning of it. So you can put them on the outside of the circle and write on it by invitation only. And then what you put inside the circle is very much to do with how you wish to keep things to yourself that has a sense of sacredness to it. The little mini card, armadillo card. Respect your sacred space. Drop hesitations and banish abuse. Use proper boundaries and thrive. Because sometimes when we don't have boundaries, all forms of abuse can come into our lives, and we allow it. So even though it's painful or harmful to us, we still allow it. So by working with your sacred space and respecting it, you drop any hesitations about, oh, I couldn't possibly say no to so-and-so, because I'd upset their feelings. But you have to deal with your own feelings first. If your feelings say, I don't like having this person in my space, I don't like how they are in my house, I don't like how they are in my workspace. So say, for example, you work in an office, and say you're a female, just for example, and a male comes along and stretches right across you, comes right into your space, that can be a form of abuse. So, and you might not say anything, you just put up with it. So the armadillo energy is about you now being very aware of what you will allow and what you won't allow into your sacred space. Practice it, play with it. I've done it many times myself, and when you set an intention, and it is to harm none, so it's not going to harm anybody, you set that intention that I now have strong boundaries around me, energetic boundaries around me. I will allow this in, but I will not allow that in. And watch what happens. You can also get your kids to do this. So say they may be bullied at school, or they're having difficulties with a teacher or friends or such like. Get them to do this. Make it a game. Play with it. Play with the energies. They can decorate the circle. They can put lovely glitter or stickers or whatever they like inside the circle. And so you are giving them that sense of their own empowerment, that they know on some level how powerful they are, and they won't allow things coming into their lives that can disturb them or upset them. And it does work. So the last card is from again, Doreen Virtue's Archangel Oracle. I've shuffled and spread them out, but I haven't chosen one, so this is for me as well. Let's see what we got. Ooh, compassion. Okay, so there you are. Compassion. This is Archangel Zadkiel. Soften your heart with respect to this situation and all the people involved, including yourself. So this links in with the card of the armadillo and the boundaries. Because if we erect boundaries out of fear or out of anger or to shut ourselves away, so it's a bit like being the hermit, and your boundaries are so high that nobody can get in, this beautiful archangel is saying, when we use compassion for whatever situations are going on around us, it's about having a soft heart with respect to this situation and everyone involved, including yourself. So through the law of attraction, and what I was saying earlier on in the outside bit, whatever we focus on, we activate the energies of it. So whatever you draw to you, whatever situation you have around you, you have invited it in. So if there's something that you don't like about someone, that is actually active in your own vibration. That's why it has come to you. So when we can recognize that and say, oh, this keeps showing up, this pattern keeps showing up, why does this keep happening to me? Because that vibration is still within you. You're still holding perhaps a negative vibration with regard to a certain situation. Once we recognize that and can acknowledge it, then it has no hold over you. And the word compassion is two words put together. So passion, the passion that we have for life, the passion that we have for love, the passion that we have for living this life. If that is not present, then our lives are passionless. Our lives have apparently no no purpose. And the com part of it, C-O-M, is the putting, bringing together. So compassion with passion. So I hope that's been of some help to you guys. I'd really love to hear your comments. Please share and like and subscribe. Also, if anyone watching would like to have a drawing or a painting of your spirit guide or your departed loved one, or an inspirational piece, say for a Christmas present, or you'd like to commission a present for somebody else, and all the details are in the description box below. Here are just a couple of my drawings that I've done here. This is a Japanese guide that I have, and this here is my Tibetan. So thank you very much for watching. I really love doing these videos for you. If you have any questions, if there are any subjects that you'd like me to delve into and discuss and see what the guides have got to say about it, please let me know. So until next time, thank you again for watching. Celestial blessings.